Here's my number one tip if you're going to Japan, because I see people do this all the time.
Hey everyone, this is Kim O'Neill from the Every Day is a New Day podcast and live show, and you're listening to the Going North podcast with the hilarious Dom Brightmon. Be sure to subscribe to his show so you don't miss any episodes, and remember, every day is always a new day.
Today's episode is sponsored by the GoingNorthPodcast.com shop. And if you head over to the wonderful website, cop some merchandise, take a selfie with you rocking the gear, shoot it to yours truly, the host, DomBrightmon at gmail.com, and I will give you a shout out on the show as well, and heck, even tag you on social media as well. So feel free to check out some of the good old merch on GoingNorthPodcastShop.com. Now let's get on with some super special awesome content. And today on the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, known as GMP, the Great, Glorious, and Glamorous, we got another super special awesome human for you today, courtesy of my good buddy, Mr. Eminem, baby. That's right indeed. We ain't talking about the rapper or the candy, but we're talking about Mickey Mickelson, baby. That's right indeed. All the way out from the good old, big old state of Texas. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Texas claimed another one. Used to be Canadian, so I can't really make as many Canada jokes or call it Canada anymore, since he's now rocking the 10-gallon hat without actually having a 10-gallon hat. But hey, he's got 10 gallons worth of clients, and today's guest is one of them, because today's featured author, she has a profound love for Japan, so that's already a plus. And she also loves cats too, so all the meows, as well as sumo wrestlers, dioramas, and eating unusual foods. So that's right indeed. Instead of octopus or octopi, it's probably tentapie. So let's give it up for the double C herself, Miss Carrie Carter. How you doing today, Carrie?
Oh, I'm doing lovely. It is a lovely day, and we had a cool front come through, so things are feeling better outside. And that always improves your outlook on life when you have beautiful weather.
Yeah, that's right, dude, because you're also in Texas yourself, right?
I am. It's been a hot summer this year. It's been a little intense.
Will you take part of the blame for that?
No, I'm not. I'm not going to take any blame for anything. I'm going to push it off to somebody else.
Now, come on, I'm sure your husband will blame you for it.
I think he's okay with it. He's always cold anyway, so he likes the hot summer.
Well, I guess in more ways than one. Oh, man. But it ain't about hot summers, it's about the fabulous Carrie the Champ. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. It's my goodness. As with all introductions, they're not allowed to be 14 and a half days long, and I probably covered, I don't know, 0.3 of the 0.5. So am I filling in any cavities I may have missed about you since it's your first time on the podcast?
It is. Thank you for having me on. It's always exciting being on someone's podcast. I've always been like a writer. Even I started probably writing short stories in 3rd grade. So, I'm like, you know what? 40 something plus years, it's time to make that happen and get published. So musician and writer. And I do write in my day job, but it's like reporting stuff. It's very cut and dry and no real creativity there.
No creativity, so no random pickle monsters with the cowboy hats and wrangling up cucumbers to join the cause? Nothing like that?
Not during the day job, no. Although my coworkers would probably appreciate that comment because they might feel like that at some times.
All right. So it is a pickle religion recruiting cucumbers. All right. There you go. It's like one of us. Oh, man. Man, oh, man. So, short stories, 3rd grade. I guess the
Mm-hmm.
writing just kept happening. Did you just keep the pen taped to your forehead for life?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what happened?
No, not really. There was like a long stretch of doing nothing related to it, you know? You know how that goes sometimes. And it was my sister who kind of pushed me along to write this current book. She's like, just do it. Just write your 2 sentences a day. She actually said, write your 2 crappy sentences a day. And I think she heard that on a podcast somewhere. But it's really great advice, actually, you know? Because if you write those 2 sentences every day, sooner or later, you're going to have a manuscript sitting in front of you.
Ah, there you go. That's right indeed. Larry's a good guy indeed. That's right indeed. He tells you get it done. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. It's good that your sister throws you down a metaphorical laundry chute like in those cartoons. It makes you get in there and fight your dirty laundry and embrace your dreams, you know?
You know, because she was actually half the book too, because I did all the writing and then she did the graphics designs. So there's pictures in there and there's a layout and, you know, there's all that stuff she put together. So the overall look is her doing.
Oh, meow. All right, there we go. So talent runs in the family then.
I think so, you know. You know, my grandmother used to write short stories too. And some of them were like children's books. And then she had this couple of them that were really dark. And you don't expect it to come from your grandmother. You're like, whoa, you wrote this? You know, because other stuff she was writing about angels and they were playing on the rainbows. And then we have one about a woman who had a daughter that was deformed. They hid her in the basement and didn't let anyone know she existed. And then she kills everyone. The daughter does. I was like, whoa. I think everyone's
Oh,
got both versions in them, light, happy stuff and some dark stories too.
oh, okay. So did the daughter end up turning humans into pie?
uh, she might have, you know.
Yeah, that's right indeed. You'd think that would happen. And hey, it's like revenge, right?
Oh yeah, the whole thing was a revenge story. But you know, I'm not writing a revenge story. At least my book is more lighthearted, and I think my grandmother would be proud of me. I think she'd really have liked the book if you know if she was still alive.
Oh, that's right indeed. That's right indeed. Because I hear the book is all about meows in Japan at the same time.
Yeah, it's about a woman and her cat, and they go to Japan, and it's their first time there, so you get both perspectives, you know, a human perspective and a cat perspective as they're traveling through the countryside and they try new things.
So you're saying it's a hat perspective, a human and a cat?
Yes. But it makes a whole. Two halves make a whole, so you get a whole book.
Ah, there you go. There you go. Two halves making a whole. So which one's the lemonade and which one's the sweet tea?
um, I think Audrey, the woman's probably more the sweet tea, and the cat is a little bit more concerned about Audrey getting into trouble. And, you know, he's hesitant with things to begin with because, you know how cats are. They can be scaredy cats, you know. They can warm up. He warms up to his adventures pretty quickly, but he's not sure about it to begin with.
Ah, okay, that's what I'm talking about indeed. Right indeed. So my goodness, so I heard it took you 14 trips to Japan to get the inspiration for the book.
Yes, yeah, that's about right. Maybe 13 because one of the trips I went back while writing the book. And this time I had a little bit different perspective when I went to Japan because I was thinking about things and like, well, could they go here? Could they do this? Would they want to do this? Would this be interesting? So, you know, and also it's like, is this restaurant still there? Because there's some things I had wanted to include and they had closed, so they got nixed. And I did put the Skiji Fish Market in there, even though it has closed and they moved.
Oh,
It's moved location, but I don't know. It's probably the best chapter I had in the book, so I didn't. I wanted to include it. Plus, I never
ah,
say the year they go to Japan. If that's all left out, you can just assume whatever year you want to assume. You know.
Heck yeah, sure. That's probably the best part. It's like, hey, don't worry, it's a work of fiction anyway. It's like
Right?
real life
I mean, there's
fiction.
a cat typing on the laptop, I think you can suspend your disbelief a little bit. But one of the things I wanted to do with the book is also make it kind of like a guidebook. So all the locations in the book are true, and there's information, tips about getting to there or doing this or, things to do or say. So I wanted to keep that all places you could actually go. You can go to the Skiji Market perimeter. It's still there, but the actual fish and the tuna auctions, they're in a new location. They modernized. Although I think the old one place worked just fine. Of course, I didn't work there all the time. They may have felt differently.
I gotcha. All right, cool, cool, cool. Sweet. So my goodness. So after all the trips and all the additions and all the nixings and the fixings, so what inspired your love for Japan?
Oh, interesting question. I think it actually all started as a kid. I don't know if you remember on Saturday afternoons, they used to have the martial arts movies that took place in Hong Kong. And then after that, they would show like Godzilla and Gamera and the big monsters. And I always liked watching them. But one of the things that really fascinated me was like of course, they were models, they weren't real cities, but the cities, the models, dioramas, they had all the writing on it. And it just looked so different from here, in the United States. And that kind of fascinated me. That caught my attention. And then in college, I actually joined the anime club. So I started watching anime. And that's when I picked up a little bit more cultural stuff. I mean, I know, like you said, anime is all fiction too, but I did learn things like about bentos and rice and cherry blossoms that I didn't know before. And then finally, I got my chance to go. It was a 4-hour layover the first time. Yep. So we head out from the airport and we went to the second stop off the train and went into Narita and just explored it. Ate some noodles, met a nice Japanese woman who said I should come back. And I was thinking, oh, I'm never coming back. This is my only chance to be here. And I was wrong. I went several more times.
So what inspired you to come back? What made you think you were going to come back? Was it just the employment at the time where it's like, oh God, they're paying me in peanuts. I can't even get cashews yet. Like, what was the thought process?
I think just because it was so far away. I mean, I'm in Houston, so to fly to Houston to Japan, I mean, there's a direct flight, and it's 14 hours one way. So it's not something that you think, oh, I'm going to go here a lot. And at the time, I was just kind of started dating my husband, and he worked for Continental Airlines. So we were using his flight benefits to fly on standby. And, who knew how long that would last? A lot longer than I expected, and I'm sure grateful for it. No complaints there.
I gotcha.
Yeah, and then the first time we actually went into Tokyo proper, I kind of always had this expectation in my mind that I was going to hate it. It was going to be everything I hated. It's large, it's busy, it's probably noisy. I don't know how to read anything. It's like being illiterate because you can't read anything. Can't even speak the language. How am I going to talk to people? And then when I got there, the largeness didn't bother me. I found it pretty interesting. It was actually fairly quiet. I mean, it's such a big city and it's mostly quiet. Now, you go to some places on Saturday night and it's noisy. People are, having fun. But yeah, you get on the train, no one's talking. You're walking the street, it's relatively quiet. And then the food is something else. I wasn't sure I hadn't really had much Japanese food up till that point. But I found real fast, I really like Japanese food. And you could even get some amazing pies. They had department stores. They have foods down the basements. You can get some desserts and some amazing looking pies there.
There we go. Pie-tastic. That's right indeed. Love to hear it indeed. That's right indeed. Yeah, because it's like, oh shit, 14-hour flight. No, 4-hour layover. 18 hours. No. And it's like, oh, the addiction is real. I'm foaming at the mouth. I gotta go back.
I think it is a kind of addicting place to go. I mean, one of the things that's so great about it is crime, random crime there is relatively low. So you're safe to walk around, you're safe to do things. You don't have to worry about being pickpocketed or, something along those lines like happens in some tourist destinations. So, that alleviates that kind of stress. And it's super easy to get around. They have trains and buses that connect everywhere.
Ah, that's right indeed. Bullet train swag ahoy. They got transportation right with the trains, I hear.
Yeah, the trains are amazing. I mean, the system that they have about the train is just, it's so massive. Like for Tokyo, it's massive. When you get to some of these smaller towns, it's like there's one train and it comes through like, I don't know, once an hour or something. But in Tokyo itself, you got multiple lines and multiple companies running the lines. And you got the Shinkansen, which is the high speed bullet train. And you know what? When you're on it, it doesn't feel like you're moving at a very fast speed. It's deceptive.
Oh, well, alrighty then. That's all right. They got you covered. So, my goodness, so any travel tips for those aspiring to go to Japan?
Here's my number one tip if you're going to Japan, because I see people do this all the time. Don't overplan. I see people like, we're going to go here and here and here and here, and then we're going to get a train, and we're going to go here, and then the next day we're going to get a train, we're going to go here. And I'm like, whoa, calm down. Take some time and explore the area you're at. Take a day where you don't have anything planned. Just get off a stop and just explore and check it out. I think it's an American thing because you'll see like tours for Europe. Take the 7-day tour and see 10 countries. I guess it's people just want to say they set foot in that country. I'm like, come on, take some time to explore it. You never know what you're going to see that you might find interesting that you wouldn't have known about otherwise.
Oh, okay. All right. There you go. That's right. So the plan is no plan at all. I got you.
Well, you can have some plan, just don't over plan, You can be like, okay, we're going to go to Shinjuku. It's an area in Japan and Tokyo. We're going to go there today and explore. Well, I know I want to go there and see the government building. Okay, do that. But don't just put like 20 things you want to do there. Because I can tell you one thing, once you get to Shinjuku Station, you're going to spend 2 hours lost in there because you won't be able to find your way out or the proper way out, that your door you want. It has something like 122 exits or 121 exits.
What?
Yeah, it's insane. It's like its own city. It's the busiest train station in the world. I think I read somewhere they said 3 million people a day go through the gates to get onto the trains. But they don't count the people getting off the trains. So it's probably more like 6 million.
Okay. All right. So Exhibit is taking over Japan. He put a city inside of a city. I got you. That's right, indeed. That's right. Hey, dog, I heard you like trains. Heard you like cities, so he put a city inside of a city. That's right, indeed. With all the exits. That's right, indeed. 139 of them.
With all the exits, yes.
That's right, indeed. It's a human ant colony.
It's pretty packed. I'll say that, But it's quiet.
Which,
In
go
each of the
ahead, go
train
ahead.
stations they have food. You can go eat restaurants. I mean, you can spend your whole trip just eating in there. There's total different varieties and like amounts and price ranges from cheap to super expensive.
That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. Where all the dollar bills keep growing. That's right, indeed. It's like, all right, this is gonna need one size tree. Oh, this is gonna need 2 trees. Oh, this may need 5 trees.
You need a whole grove of trees, maybe even a forest.
That's right. And then they'll never be able to see the trees again.
Mm. I wonder how that works if they're many trees and you can't see the trees for the forest. Does that mean you're broke?
Nah, we'll call that crypto.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a whole nother category.
All right, that's what I'm talking about indeed. So, my goodness, indeed. So, this marvelous book that released this, well, I guess technically this week. This month feels still like April to me, but hey, you finally got this book released indeed. That's half novel, half travel guide indeed. So, what's probably the most difficult part of finally getting to press the publish button?
Oh, the the actual most difficult part was just getting it uploaded to Amazon. That was a big hassle, and it took us like a month because most people upload a book. It's just words, more or less just words, maybe a few pictures. But because this was so graphic intensive, they're like, you have to do this, you have to flatten it, you have to flatten it. And then anytime there was Japanese writing in a picture, it would flag it. The AI program they were using would flag it. And they're like, oh, that we can't, this is not, it's too close to the borders. It's due to this. It's you can't read it. And I'm like, of course you can't read it unless you know Japanese. And I think the target audience, there's probably not that many that read Japanese, read kanji. I'm sure there's some, But yeah. But we got it done. We eventually got it uploaded. And it was all good. So you thought I was going to say the hardest part was like writing it or editing it or something like that. Nah. Technology.
That's right indeed. Ugh, God, Amazon and their darn AI. I still remember my second book. My launch date got ruined. It got pushed back 3 whole days for book two. Ever since KDP took him over, it's like, hey, buddy, we are not going to publish this book because this cover right here is 0.25 inches over here to the right. You got to move to the left. And it's like, but you sent the proof copy. It looks perfect.
Right.
No, you have to resubmit your cover design. Yeah.
So you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You're like, uh-huh.
Yeah, a past guest, Dwayne Jenkins' book, Life Has a Way. Funny enough, life does have a way. Apparently, he had to resubmit his book like 5 different times. And comes to find out the 5th and final time where it finally went through is because apparently he had so many Roman numerals.
Oh.
And they were like, this is too many Roman numerals. Like, what the hell are you talking about?
For real? Oh, that sounds about right. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, his got delayed 4 whole weeks. It was a shame. I'm like, dang gummit, y'all suck.
I know, right? I'm so glad we started uploading it early because if we had waited, because everyone's like, oh, you don't need that long to do it. I was like, if we had waited, we would have had to push the launch date too.
Yeah, exactly. Because book number 1 was still with Create Space when it was still Create Space back in the day. Good times.
Right,
and then,
right.
Yeah. And then it's like book number 2 is KDP. Supposed to work the same, maybe. No, it doesn't. The AI is stupid.
I'm not like, if a real person would just look at this, they can see there's no issue.
Exactly.
And then they kept sending us proofs that were the original upload. I'm like, we've uploaded like 6 versions since then. Oh. Good times. So yeah, you can tell your listeners if anyone wants to, if they're going to publish on Amazon, they're going to self-publish. Got lots to look forward to.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. So, my goodness, so since you've been on a few podcasts recently promoting your book, is there a question that you wish you'd be asked more often?
I don't know. Maybe just something as simple as, what's your favorite Japanese food? Because I like to eat, so I could talk on and on about Japanese food, although probably no one really wants to hear it. They're probably like, Or maybe a better, more interesting question was like, what's your least favorite Japanese food or dish?
So what's the dish to avoid?
Well, I wouldn't say avoid it because, everyone's got different preferences. But I'm not a real big fan of umeboshi. It's like pickled plums.
Oh.
But they're real sour, and you're like,
Mm.
ooh. But I did have some that were actually pretty good because I stayed with a farmer, and it also talks about this in the book. And he was a plum farmer, and he made umeboshi, so he had us try his stuff. And I was going, oh no, I'm gonna make a face when I eat this because it's gonna be too sour. I
Yeah.
was kind of worried. And so then I ate it and I was like, oh, actually, that was pretty good. So, but he sold his stuff in like the high end department store and he sold it for like a lot of money. So I'm like, I guess there's quality differences from the lower end price stuff and the higher end price stuff. But I will say one thing, he had them all spread out on sheets, on pans to like dry in this like building, kind of like a greenhouse. And you walk in there and it smells like plums. It smells wonderful.
uh, so looks like that was the land of plum pleasing pleasure.
Oh, sure.
You're probably like, what? That's right, indeed. It's like that Eastbound and Down episode where Will Ferrell's like, yeah, check out my plums.
Oh, yeah.
Well, since we got to the food conversation, if your marvelous book was a food, what would it be and why?
It would probably be ramen. Actually, no, maybe not. Yeah, we'll just go with that. Because ramen can be so many different things and made so many different ways, but it's always good. At least when you have it in Japan in a restaurant, it's always good. So hopefully people read the book and think, this is interesting. I enjoyed it. Just like a nice steaming bowl of ramen. Not the 99-cent packets that you get here. Not the instant ramen. Oh, I don't know. I guess if you don't like the book, you could call it instant ramen. If you like it, it's like the big bowl of, Michelin star ramen. If you don't like it, it's the 99-cent packet. Works both ways.
So here you got a sequel to book number 1 coming up when Japan fully lets people in explore for real. So how's the progress looking for book number 2?
I've got some outlining. I'm in the outlining stage because I've been there, a lot of times. There's so many things I've done that didn't get included in the first book, but I do need to go back and, like I said, confirm that it's still there. Like I didn't put this one in the book and I really wanted to, but the robot show, there's a robot show and the rumor is it's put on by the Yakuza, which is the Japanese mafia. And it's got cute women in it and like little skimpy outfits, and they've got big giant robots and they fight each other. They put up a fence while you're sitting in the audience. Like, you're like, uh-oh, it's about to get real in here. They're putting up a fence around us. But it's a lot of fun and just bizarre. And I think they put it in a place that looks like it used to be a strip club. It's so over the top. And then it closed during the pandemic and they're not going to reopen. I was like, oh man. Now I can't include that in book 2.
So do you ever think you're good? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just say they had a robot jazz band playing, which was people dressed up like robots playing jazz.
Yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Robot jazz, indeed. That's right, indeed. The machines are taking over. That's right, indeed. I mean, heck, if a guy can marry his Nintendo DS 15 or so years ago, why not have a robot play jazz music?
Where do you think he took the Nintendo for his honeymoon?
there may have been some Super Mario Sunshine, maybe.
Oh no.
Let's go. And then the water is Bowser. If he drops it in there, it's game over.
Oh It's the end of his marriage.
Well, at least it won't take half.
True. He won't have to pay for a divorce attorney either. He's saving money. His plan's working.
Yeah. That's right, dude. The machines know. Well, before any more rabbit holes, here we're coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive. And that is, if you don't wake up tomorrow and you're 25 again, but you're still in 2022, what advice would you give to yourself?
Do not take that day job. Well, actually, you need some sort of job. Do something part-time and spend all your other part-time hours that you'd normally be working writing. Just write. Because you can do that at 25. You can take a kind of a, low-paying job and get some friends and have some roommates and then just write more than I did at the age of 25. I was too busy going out and listening to bands. Yeah, I guess about around that time, not shortly after that, I started the band. I would tell my 25-year-old self in 2022 to start a band too. That's good advice. Unless you don't play music, then you might be like, that's really bad advice. I'd also tell my 25-year-old self, if a good opportunity comes along, don't overthink it and take it.
That's good. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. The incense basketballs. That's right indeed. Great opportunity. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. You can make the scent bounce. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Keeping it lit, as the kids would say. So you heard that right, folks. Start that band today, y'all. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Start your band today.
Yes, do it. Don't sit around and say, oh, I wished I'd done this. Well, just do it. So what? Maybe you're horrible. Maybe you only last 6 months and only 2 people come and see you. But at least you can say you did it.
Exactly. That's right indeed. You could even call yourself the Spiders. That's right indeed.
There's probably a band already called that, but sure. I think every band name's been taken already and used at some point.
Okay, fine. Call yourself the Cockroaches or something. Just not the Beatles.
Right. They're like, you can't call yourself the Beatles. It's been done. And they'll be like, wait, it has? Because they're 25 and don't know anything. Well, that's not true. They know stuff, but they might not know the Beatles. I don't know. Do 25-year-olds know the Beatles?
I would hope so.
I would too, but I don't really know what 25-year-olds know about past bands and movies and pop culture.
But they do know about popcorn.
They know everyone. Yep. I think everyone knows about popcorn.
That's right indeed. Especially when the cob is the doorknob.
I've always wondered why it's not called popcorns. Like plural. Because I'm like, when you're getting probably more kernels in one ear corn, so it's corns, right?
I like the way you think. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. That's that kernel of truth right there. Yeah, that's right indeed. Well, for those who want to get so many more kernels of truth and have their corn cob complete by following you and all that you do, what's the best way for folks to do so?
Well, I have a Facebook page called Carrie Carter Writes, and that's CARRIE. And I also have a website. It's carriecarterswrites.com. And you can always sign up for my newsletter, which doesn't come out as regularly as it should. I mean, it comes out like once. I was doing once every other week. And then with the launch, I did once a week. But everyone's like, oh, it needs to come out on the same day every week. And I'm like, oh, it's Wednesday and I'm a day behind. But no one's complained so far, so I think it's all good.
Yep. That's right, indeed. Because sometimes they catch that mess late.
I'm just gonna blame it on their mail service. They delayed it, not me.
It's true. It's true, especially with Gmail. Ever since they started those 3 tabs, it's like, oh yeah, primary, social, promotional. It's like, hey, might be in the promotional tab, and then you'll get an email from one of your subscribers a month later. You're like, hey, Gmail, nix this and put in promotions. You're now
Oh
whitelisted.
no.
Yeah, it's happened to me.
That's unfortunate.
Hey, I consider it fortunate. Shoot, it's like, hey, if folk, that means they opened it and they let me know about it. It's like, oh shoot, that means I have the best freaking subscribers on freaking planet Earth.
That's a
That's
very
right.
good point. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Dumb hearts is subscribers. That's right. All the hearts, all the love. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. It's like a big old cat, a meow. That's right.
It's the cat's meow.
Yeah, it's the cat's meow indeed, with all the pajamas. So they can jam with you. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So heard that right, folks. Turn on your meowdery engines and follow Carrie. That's right, indeed. And all of her wonderful stuff. Subscribe to her newsletter. That's right, indeed. So you can get some of that good news. That's right, indeed. All about the cats on Catter Day and all the humans on every other day, indeed. That may go to Japan and take pictures of sumo wrestlers. And then they may be absorbed into their bellies just for fun and athleticism.
Man, I hope I get to go to Japan and get some pictures with some sumo wrestlers. That would be so incredible.
That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. Yeah, get pictures with them, indeed. That's right, indeed. And about as you, if I'm not mistaken, Yokozuna is the highest title for a sumo, right?
Correct. Yes.
Hey.
Yep. So, and then Hakuho was the greatest Yokozuna of all time, and he retired in July. I didn't get to see him in person.
Darn. So that means you gotta find him and be like, hey, cocky American here, trying to get a selfie. Help out a sister.
Well, he's gonna open up his own stable in Ginza, so I don't know. Maybe if you hang around there in the morning, you might see him.
There you go. Find out his favorite drink, and then just have it just sitting out there waiting.
I wonder how he would react to that. If he'd be like, "Oh, hey, awesome, thanks," or he'd be like, "Oh, no, 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 no," giving the cross eye and go away.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, my goodness, before any more rabbit holes appear, any parting words before we close up shop, Carrie?
Just I hope everyone checks my book out, whether you want to go to Japan or not, because it's a travel book and it's about cats. And I know some people are more dog people than cat people, so that's okay. But just be open to exploring and not over planning.
How's it going, my friend? I'm glad you made it to the end. That shows that you really enjoyed what you heard and you are an uncommon finisher. Thanks for giving this show a listen. If you really want to help out the show, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with someone that you care about or someone that needs to hear this message, because we want to spread this podcast around like butter on bread, if that's your type of thing. And if it's not your type of thing, still spread it around anyway, because good stuff needs to be shared with good people like yourself.